Hello everybody and welcome back. I'm Will Dragon and this is Suzerain. Now after being elected president of Swordland, we are starting to put the country in order. We are having meetings with our cabinet, we are finding out what our gravest problems are, and one day we may even solve them. Who really knows? We have news reports coming in from everywhere. Booming wine demand in Borin. In Borin, there's been a significant surge in demand for local wines. This sudden increase has led to a busy season for vineyards and wineries across the region. The cause of this rise in demand comes from international interest, and it is certainly driving economy activity in the city. Wineries are ramping up production to meet the increased demand. A continued trend could further stimulate the region's economy beautifully. Some good news. Usually it's all doom and gloom. Increasing unemployment. The number of people filing for unemployment in Mona continue to rise as the recession continues. The change in economic conditions is historic and stunning in its speed, said the mayor of Mona. In the aftermath of the crisis of 51, the unemployment rate in Mona rose to 9% the following year. The last 6 months have almost erased all gains in employment over the last 2 decades. Well, I've heard there's jobs down here in Borin. Let's see what else is going on. The recession led to a reduction in rail assets, with more than a fifth of the railway network itself, antiquated, being mothballed in the recent years. While the main lines of the railway network are currently in service, increasing demand in goods from Gelsord to the capital is pushing the network to its limits. The rail signaling system in the region dates from the middle of the last century, and it also is in need of improvement. Okay, we need to improve our railway links. The Gasson sea rig off the coast of Lakavan has paused oil extraction operations for essential maintenance. The rig has been a significant contributor to Lakavan's oil output, and its temporary shutdown could impact the city's production levels. The maintenance timeline remains uncertain. The local government is monitoring the situation and making arrangements to ensure minimal disruption to the city's oil supply. Until then, normal operations remain suspended. We also have down here Sana. For the first time in 3 years, the agricultural output of Sana has increased. Many experts link the increased output to both a drop in temperatures and new farming practices that have been adopted in recent years. Additionally, farmers are now accessing more generous credit allowances from the government that were left over from the Alfonso administration. The Minister of Agriculture reports that the region's agriculture industry has the potential to become a powerhouse in the future if investments persist. And then we have one more local report. The recent collapse of tourism industry in Lenkirk has led to a reduction in trade traffic and road maintenance. The road network is currently in service but is in need of substantial improvement. Ports, country roads and bridges similarly suffering from a lack of investment. Firms doing business in Lenkirk report a significant shortage of warehouse facilities, particularly refrigerated facilities, with implications both for the transportation system and the ability to serve the population's basic food and health needs. And if we were to zoom out and go regional, we have the Republic of Valgsland. Chancellor Hegel sent his congratulations on your great victory and wished for close cooperation between our countries in the future. Hegel signaled concessions from Valgsland in case of a promising trade deal. He also congratulated the Swordish democracy for the successful elections and warned us about the threat Arcasia's growing influence poses for Eastern Murkopa. Prime Minister Van Horten congratulated us on our election and praised our party's stance on just and transparent elections. He signaled his wishes to continue the trade partnership between our countries as equal partners, as opposed to earlier trade deals which he believes gave Swordland unfair advantages. Of course, so he wishes to change it more in his favor. Shock and horror. President Smolak sent his congratulations on the election, victory and wish for a cooperative future between Wellen and Swordland, signaling a desire to normalize the diplomatic situation between the two countries. The Kingdom of Ryzia. King Romus Taurus of Ryzia has formally extended warm congratulations to President Anton Rain following his electoral success. In an official address, he praised Swordland's so-called democratic ethos and expressed a keen interest in fortifying bilateral ties under the Rain administration. The king anticipates a future of close cooperation and mutual respect between the two nations regardless of the governmental differences. Arcasian Treaty Organization. In response to growing global tensions, the Arcasian Treaty Organization, an intergovernmental military and economic alliance of 14 countries led primarily by Arcasia, has issued an expansive report examining the state of human rights worldwide. amid intensifying nuclear developments and efforts to counteract the expanding influence of the Cantanan Security Pact, which... military and economic alliance between 9 countries led by the United Contana. This alliance creates an integrated defense strategy and military cohesion to defend against the ATO. The ATO's commitment to championing human rights remains unwavering. The report meticulously identifies regions worldwide where human rights are most endangered, shedding light on areas of concern in multiple continents, including Eastern Mercopa, Western Rica, Southern Contana. Proposed strategies underline the need for actionable, collaborative efforts to address these crises, championing an international focus on basic human rights and freedom. As the specter of potential tensions and proxy wars looms, the report calls for nations to remember that the fight for universal respect for human dignity transcends political and ideological division. And we have one more report all the way up here. The CSP, a significant step towards the international diplomacy, the Cantanan Security Pact, an intergovernmental military and economic alliance of 9 countries led by United Contana, has signed a 5-year non-aggression pact with the Federation of Anrakan Isles. The landmark agreement underlines the CSP's commitment to broadening its influence beyond its home continent of Contana, while maintaining peaceful relations across the globe. The pact demonstrates the CSP's ongoing efforts to peacefully extend its influence across the Anrakan archipelago, marking an important turn in the complex geopolitical landscape. As the CSP strengthens its global position to counteract the capitalist influence of the ATO, this agreement signals a commitment to strategic, peaceful expansion that respects the sovereignty of nations that lie in the ocean between United Contana and Arcasia. As Arcasia is a constitutional republic situated in Western Mercopa. And then, yes, back to Whole Sword. Meeting on the media strategy. Lucian and Peter arrive at my office to talk about recent developments and the media strategy. They both took their seats across from me. Lucian put on his reading glasses and quickly went over some documents. Peter turned to Lucian and nodded. Greetings, gentlemen. I have just received further information from the interior about the sudden fire that broke out at Whole Sword State University archives nearby. Was it put out quickly? Our firefighters put out the fire as soon as they could, yet it had been burning for 6 hours, so extensive damage was done to the archives and the building. I will arrange medals to recognize their bravery for doing their best. The Whole Sword Fire Department is full of tough champs. The information we received raises some eyebrows. The initial reports from the Whole Sword Police Chief indicate a potential arson case. In accordance with protocol, the Swordish Intelligence Directorate has been called. The SID really necessary for this? Why would anyone hit the archives of a university in the first place? I see no logical motive there. It seems like the Chief suspects foreign sabotage. They informed us that a large section of the archive has been destroyed. It included tens of thousands of globally recognized research documents in original by the great thinkers of our people. We need to support our education system to make new discoveries for the future. Preserving our knowledge is as important as expanding on it. It's interesting that the employee records have been destroyed as well. Luckily, most originals have copies in other universities and some international libraries. The first edition of my favorite book, The Geopolitical of Swordland by Hermann Eker, was destroyed too. Maybe it was just a freak accident. We do have the copies of most important works, so no single fire can eradicate our knowledge. I see no point in destroying employee records either. More importantly, Lucian mentioned that Marcel Coronti contacted him. Who's a son of the media reporter. He operates the HOS advertising. The Corontis had always been known as one of the richest and most influential families in Swordland. Marcel Coronti was no exception. He was the oldest son of Conrath Coronti, the industrialist and media mogul who founded HOS, the richest man in the entirety of Swordland. Lucian turned to me. He has offered to meet with you, Mr. President. What does he want? After the passing of his father, may he rest in peace, Marcel aims to become the next CEO of the HOS conglomerate. He mentioned a productive collaboration. They are a powerful and influential media conglomerate. To start with, they own the Sordland Today newspaper, the Swordish Broadcasting Corporation, which means it would be wise to have them on our side. Sorry for interrupting. What does this productive collaboration entail? He did not wish to explain the details over the phone, but rather in person. I believe I will be receiving a call for him sometime soon. However, as Peter said, they have substantial power over the content of media outlets. Headlines, radio shows, that is what he would be offering. What he wants in return is what we need to understand. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. First, we need to determine our general approach to media. I'm no media expert, but Lucian some very interesting arguments at the preparation meeting yesterday. There are two ways we can approach the media. One of them is by influencing it, which has clear advantages. The other is keeping it independent. The media must be independent. Ideally, yes, but an unpopular leader will not be able to pass even the easiest reforms. It is of utmost importance to maintain public popularity and avoid any damaging scandals or mistakes. I must stress one thing, Mr. President. The more people we have supporting our agenda, the more we can accomplish. With someone on our side in an influential media organization, we can do this very easily. Two wrongs don't make a right. Maybe, maybe not. It's hard to forget what happened to President Alfonso last year. Things got even worse after his cabinet resigned and the media started to slander him, but that was also a result of his own incompetence. Two knocks were heard on the door. Who is it? It's Livia, Mr. President, Livia being the first secretary. Her dark curls bounced as she crossed the room to my desk. She spoke with a slight lilt in her voice. Excuse me, Mr. President. Mr. Galade's secretary has been calling me and wanted me to relay a message. The position of Chief Strategist to the President of Sordland. He has been an active member of the United Sordland Party since 1937. Marcel Coronti, the new CEO for HOS Conglomerate, is on the line for Mr. Galade. Well, the ball is in our court now. Would you like to talk to him, sir, or would you like me to? I would like to talk to him. Collect the line to my office. Right away, sir. Connecting the call to line 1. Livia left the room and the phone started ringing. I picked it up. It's a pleasure, Mr. Coronti. The pleasure is all mine. I know your time is valuable, so I will not waste any of it. I was just elected CEO of HOS. My strategy in running this conglomerate will be different than my father's approach. This is why I'm offering a partnership deal regarding our media branch. I would like to formally invite you to my resort near Conriat for a meeting to discuss the details. What does that entail? Our future as partners, Mr. President. Surely we can't talk about the details on the phone. I just wish to have a face-to-face conversation with you. I will send you the details through my secretary if you are interested. I would be interested in the meeting. You will not be disappointed, I promise. Well then, I will let you return to your packed schedule. See you later, Mr. President. See you later, Mr. Conrati. I'll set things up right away. Expect a worthwhile meeting next month. It's settled then. Looking forward to next month. I wonder if he has a pool. Lucian looked at his watch. It appears we're done for today. We'll continue where we left off later. Thank you for your time. Good work, Marcel. Keep it up. Good work with Marcel. Keep it up. Lucian and Peter nodded for gathering their documents and leaving my office. We were already getting the attention of key figures, and potentially dangerous ones. Okay. I am just, very briefly, folks, gonna quickly come to here, and let's trim down the volume a smidge. Turn. Because I felt that was a tiny bit loud when we were going through that. Ribbery. With its rich historical sites, unique culture, and natural beauty has untapped tourism potential. However, the city lacks the necessary infrastructure and promotional activities to become a fully fledged tourist destination. Local officials are actively seeking further support to develop Ribery's tourism sector. Any strategic plan for Ribery's development will require a focus on infrastructure and the promotion of its attractions. Boosting tourism could significantly enhance the city's economy and create numerous job opportunities. We also then... Oh, we're off the board for that one. Over here, down in Valgan. Valgan Dam, a critical energy resource for Swordland, has been experiencing a reduction in its energy output due to its age. The dam's aging infrastructure is proving less efficient, affecting its ability to maintain previous levels of energy generation. This decrease could impact the region's energy supply if not addressed promptly. Plans for refurbishment or modernization of the dam could be proposed in the future if necessary. Okay, we do have either campaign finance bill, party committee report. Well, let's read that report. The Reform Committee reports that any potential change to the Constitution in the direction of the Reformists will likely result in strong opposition from the National Front Party. No welfare, economy, orders, diplomacy, law, that's not what I'm after, connections, legislative, that's what I wanted to look at. The National Front Party holds 40 seats. Okay. Members of the Assembly in support of such direction seem to be in great numbers, and possibly make up a majority in the Grand National Assembly, while most members of the United Swordland Party seem reluctant about supporting such changes. Okay, that's all of my guys. Sid joins HSU fire investigation. Further investigations by the police department reveal a potential arson case with no identified suspects yet. The police chief of Holsword has voiced concerns about suspected sabotage by a foreign nation, inviting the Swordist Intelligence Directorate in the investigation to expand the investigation. The area is cordoned off from the public to discover further evidence. Okay, so like I said, we do have the campaign finance bill, and over here in Lochhaven, invest in mega infrastructure, in addition to invest in one of two planned mega infrastructure projects. And if we quickly come back out here, we have some news from the Republic of Kirut. The Republic of Kirut congratulated President Anton Rain on his recent election victory in Swordland. Chancellor Inos Adriuma of Kirut extolled Swordland's democratic process and the peaceful transition of power, emphasizing shared values. Kirut expects positive outlook for continued diplomatic collaboration and mutual growth with Swordland. Okay, nothing else on this screen. Let's go back to our national map. Now, okay, let's make a decision about... Although, no, hang on. Let's have a look at our budget. Section 1 of this bill stipulates a significant change in the methodology of public funds allocated to political parties. The new measure replaces the previous system, based on the number of votes won in the general election, with a system reliant on the proportion of seats secured by a political party in the Assembly. Section 2 sets the annual financial allocation to political parties at 500,000 Ren per each member of Assembly. This shift ensures that financial support from public funds aligns more closely with a party's representative influence within the legislative body. Section 3, a consequential effort of these amendments, will effectively lead to a substantial increase in the election budget for the USP and a minor augmentation for other parties present in the Assembly. This restructuring of funding fosters a more proportional representation of party presence within the Assembly. Section 4 highlights an important consequence of this reallocation. Parties that do not meet the 10% election threshold will see their public funding effectively curtailed. This measure ensures that public resources are concentrated towards parties with a significant representation in the Assembly. Well, I mean, that seems very democratic, so I'm going to go and vote that. The campaign finance bill has been signed into law by President Rain after the approval of the Grand National Assembly. Friends Richter, who objected to the funding package, saying it contained too much unfairness in the allocation of the budget, also sought to delay proceedings by demanding a formal recorded vote, but was overruled. The new law brings small changes to the criteria for the allocation of campaign budgets, and introduces no changes to the total amount of public funds reserved for the political parties, which stands at 100 million SR. A beacon of hope for Swordland. Swordland Tourism and Cultural Preservation Act currently under... I think we've already read these. Fire strikes the university, a committee for reforms. Yeah, we've read these. Commonwealth Coronti passed away. The first and most important modern entrepreneur in Swordland has ever seen has sadly passed away today. Suspicious fire ravaged HSU. The director of the HSU, Sander Nabok, reported that a fire broke out in the Archives University Academic Administration building. Fueling Swordlands tomorrow, unfazed by recent political developments, Gassum is set to bolster Swordlands' infrastructure and support its growing development efforts. As one of Swordlands' largest corporations, Gassum's financial aid, logistical support, and equipment aid are crucial to Swordlands' economic resurgence. Economic meeting held, President Anton Rain. Armadine Industries pioneering electronics. A new prototype for the first pocket radio was displayed by the Arcasian electronics company Armadine Industrials in Ventry City. After 6 years of research, the engineers behind the pocket transistor radio have revealed that the materials science questions regarding the composites have been solved. The company is now filing the patents for the product. President of Arcasia, Dwight Walker, praised the bright minds of Arcasian engineers following the announcement and called for further technological advancements for the military-industrial complex. Afonso abandons Lotharberg's exclusive conclave. Former president and current chairman has announced his departure from the exclusive group. This decision has been fueled by a growing disillusionment with the interest of the secretive organization. Afonso is being quoted saying he's intent on charting his own course away from Lotharberg. End Solonomics. A new era begins for Swordland, and it holds many economic questions that will need to be answered by President Rain. Our top economic analyst, with consultation from National Business Council, has released a comprehensive report on the performance of the past 20 years. A curtain section of the report stands out. The last 2 4-year plans of the plan doctrine created a budget deficit and a clear reduction of the industrial production output. This specifically due to mismanagement and inefficient bureaucracy. Gassum hires freeze amid economic strain. Freezing temperatures recorded. Swordist National League starts season. Support in Assembly grows for campaign finance bill. The allocation of public funds to political parties is proposed by Representative Albin Calvin from the USP. The bills aim to change the criteria. Gives about 28 million SR to the governing United Swordland Party, which will benefit the most from the proposed bill. New Assembly begins duty. President Anton Rain has been elected 4th president and begins his duty. Radical. USP hijacks elections. A new law that further expands the unfairness of our election system has been approved by the Grand Assembly and was signed into law by President Rain. The new law changes the rules of eligibility of public funds. Okay. Glamorous inaugural ball. The Holstered elite gathers for lavish state ball. Many citizens of the country are uncertain about their own future, but the state has no problems with wasting taxpayers' money right from the start. Afonso dishes Lotharberg, a sign of discord. Nationalist violence. Man in his 20s has been beaten with baseball bats in a paramilitary-style attack in Arvery. The man claims to have been attacked because of his ethnic background as an agno-Swordish citizen. Unearthed the Ism incident. Decades after the infamous Ism incident, new unconfirmed information emerges that challenges the official state narrative. As per the anonymous former Black Battalion sources, the incident was not an act of foreign aggression to destabilize Swordland, but a government conspiracy to gain influence. Another USP president. How many times will people fall for the same trap? Ideological dispute between Galmund and Vagsland identifies under leadership of Brigda Halvorstatia. Flipping, this is hard. Under the leadership of Galmund's second female leader, Brigda Halvorstatia, the ideological dispute between Galmund and Vagsland has intensified. Halvorstatia's government has been actively promoting the development and implementation of the Galmish Manifesto, a unique interpretation of Carlos Marcia's communist theory. The bloody protest that occurred in 1933 is widely regarded as one of the fundamental moments of Bludish movement. In 1933, the Sol Dam project, which was proposed as a long-term solution to Bergi's and Swordland's energy problem, began its construction. The construction site was home to an old Bludish village called Izam, which was planned to be evacuated and razed to open the way for the dam. The arrival of the construction workers to the site led to a series of protests by the local populace. The protesters managed to block the construction and continue their protest for 10 days. On the 7th day, a group of military personnel arrived at the scene as a reaction to the protest's increasing size. On the 10th day of the protests, a village elder named Botani Ashraf was shot by one of the soldiers. That caused the protest to turn violent. According to the Radical, the entire group of protesters were killed that day by the group of soldiers who were ordered by Tarquin Sol himself to make sure the construction was underway. Consequently, Izam was razed, and the construction of the dam started soon after. Oh, that's horrible. Swordland's regional trade. As the Rain administration starts its first term, there was a question in all of our heads. What would be the regional international trade policy? Due to the strategic geopolitical location of Swordland, historically Agnola and Wallen have been natural trading partners. Depending on the direction of the Rain administration, we think it is likely that a new trade deal will be brokered with at least one of these partners in the near term. Rumberg coming south. Our foreign policy analysts who are reviewing the recent aggressive military and diplomatic developments of Rumberg have come to the conclusion that it is highly likely that Rumberg will keep trying to push further south. Rizia firmly refutes Pale's retort in Aureus gas fields dispute. In a recent twist to the Aureus offshore gas field saga, the Kingdom of Rizia has strongly refuted the Grand Duchy of Pale's counterclaim. This development escalates last year's surprise move by Rizia, which asserted ownership based on historical records and long-standing and/or maritime agreements. The claim had initially put significant pressure on Pales and caused notable fluctuations in Mokopian energy markets. Okay. And so, Reform Committee. Reform Committee has been convened. Unfair electoral funding. Okay. I assume the color means that this is a pretty highly thought thing. Okay, maybe that wasn't a great choice I went and made. But hey, it's a choice I went and made. Fluctuation energy prices. It's currently grappling with fluctuation energy prices, development causing uncertainty in the domestic market. Invest in mega infrastructure. The Ministry of Economy has put forward 2 bold plans for mega infrastructure projects that would help with the economic recession in the long term. Investing in projects of this scale will take up some portion of our budget, but could be worthwhile if accomplished successfully. Invest in a mega infrastructure project, -1 government budget. Sure, most definitely. Stat decreased government budget. Discussion of the potential infrastructure projects. The view towards the Markian Sea from Lackhaven was nothing short of exquisite. The seaside state resident fittingly named the Blue Mansion was large, fine, and accommodating. But enjoying the luxurious mansion wasn't the main reason of our visit. We gathered the economic team here to discuss the new infrastructure investment project. Half an hour had already passed since the start of the meeting. Unfortunately, I did not even have the chance to have my usual afternoon coffee. Looking at the view from the windows, I let my mind drift for a couple of seconds. Simon's voice brought me back into the ongoing discussion. Mr. President, we need to focus on boosting the economy as quickly as possible. One of the fastest ways to achieve this is through infrastructure projects. What can we focus on? On the one hand, businessmen are complaining about the slow logistic rail network between Holsord and Lackhaven. Lilius started talking as soon as Simon took a breath. On the other hand, citizens are criticizing the lack of a proper highway connection between Lackhaven and Arvery. The narrow roads by the seaside are not only dangerous, but also difficult to traverse. We need to heed the calls for our businessmen in these days of recession. The citizens and the demands matter the most. We need to pick the most profitable option for the economic growth, which is obviously connecting our 2 most economically powerful cities. It is not business people who are suffering now, but ordinary folk. What really matters is that your first economic act accomplishes something tangible. We must improve the economy of the nation and bring it out of recession. To that point, I defined 2 important projects for your attention: the H3 Highway Project and the AL1 High-Speed Railway Project. Mr. Hall repositioned himself on his chair. The Ministry can only support one project at a time with our current capacity and budget. Let's move on to the details of each. So which one do you want to hear about first? The Highway Project. The H3 project aims to improve the abysmal state of the road network in the Angland region bordering Agnolia. The area is home to several million Agno-Sordish and Sordish citizens who currently feel neglected. There are no proper highway connections to and from Agland. The mayor of Arvery, Eric Neal, has been asking for bigger budget to develop the regional infrastructure. He told us that even trucks are having a hard time traveling through the main roads. The increased traffic is causing trouble for people commuting in and out of the region. I agree. That must be cumbersome for the citizens. It is, bless their souls. I'm happy we're thinking alike on this matter. Let's take a more detailed look at the upgrade proposal. Look at the map. Lilius was pointing at Lackhaven, which is here. The highway route starts here in Lackhaven, and from there it leads to Lenkberg. Here. Right, so from here to here. And from there it goes all the way to Arvery. As a result, the road network towards the Agnolian capital, Stalport, Agnolia is up here, Stalport, will also improve substantially. She paused and leaned forward in her chair. As mayor, I saw the central government continuously neglect our country's Agno-Swordish-dominated regions. Is this administration going to continue that kind of negligence? As swords like all of us. Yes, there should be no preference or separation among Swordish citizens, meaning we should think about what's best for the country overall. It has to be pointed out that the highway would be less beneficial in the short term. I have to disagree. It will increase the speed of transportation throughout the region. Our citizens will be quite pleased if we successfully accomplish this. Besides, if we enter trade talks with Agnolia, they will see the investment as a positive sign. Very interesting, but I still want to hear about the railway project. Your predecessor, Alfonso, failed to deliver on his campaign promise, but now we have the opportunity to start the construction of a groundbreaking railway project. As you know, our current trains cannot meet the standards of today. As many other countries adopt new electrical engine technology to power up their trains, we're falling behind. News about the new electric trains in United Contana has piqued our business's interest. They too want to transport resources and material from Holsword to Lackhaven with great speed and efficiency. This could also empower businesses and bring investments. This should be our priority, growth and development optimization. Our plan is to upgrade the old L1 line from Holsword to Lackhaven. It will transform into a high-speed railway. Look at map. Gus was pointing at Holsword, which is here. The planned construction starts right here at the capital. From there it will go to Anrica, which is here. And then to Gelsord. After which it will reach Lackhaven, our economic powerhouse. He leaned forward. The L1 will significantly boost the economies of the newly linked cities, and even the rural areas in between. Lackhaven is our primary port, so the goods unloaded there will be transported to Holsword much faster. Lackhaven is our primary port, it's in the middle of the... Yes, we should link these rural areas in the middle with the major cities of Swordland. We are talking about the wealthiest regions and forgetting about Angland, which needs the investment far more. The mayor of Anrica, Curtin Lest, also requested this project to be prioritized. Businessmen in the region will be very content, which in turn will increase investments and employment. Therefore, I recommend the L1 high-speed railway project. Can I go back to seeing the map, please? Oh, I kind of can. Ah, yeah, no, sorry, it is a port. I don't know why I thought it was in the middle of the town. So that's our port. So that happens more, I think, with general foreign investors. I mean, it looks like it's got 3 trade lines that come into it. It is also linked to Arvery. What will your final choice be, Mr. President? I mean, I lean towards the L1 high-speed railway because if we can increase the country's overall prosperity, then we can go and do the other projects, which I'm sure is not quite how the game's going to let me try and do it. But if we just focus on the poorer regions, then growth might take longer, and so then we're not going to get as many projects done. That's how I see it. Now, I get the whole... how we look to the media, political side of it, because if I generally help the poorer region, that would probably make me look better, but I'm going to go for the L1 high-speed railway. The right choice, Mr. President, not the right choice. The negotiations will begin in the middle of this year. You will be able to award the contract to a corporation of your choice. The ministry estimates that construction will be completed in 2 years if every step going forward is executed successfully. Good. Is there anything else? Thank you all for your contributions and thoughts. Have a good day. See you soon. Have a nice day. Evening settles on the beautiful coastline of Lackhaven. Okay, so everything seems to be going okay. We have, it seems, 0 news, 0 reports to come out. And so if I click here, open city information, industrial center, PFJP mayor, from the People's Freedom and Justice Party, and the Gateway. Lachofen is often named the Gateway as it is one of the largest trade hubs, ports and hubs of commerce in eastern Mercopa. That is fantastic. So if we can do trade links coming out from here, for instance, if we could now link this up to here and then even link it down to Dyer, and we need to link our regions to this port, I think. Now, of course, I don't quite get to choose these things, but hey ho. High levels of poverty, lack of healthcare services. We're going to literally go through every city. That's not quite what I'm after. So, whole sort. Invest in Arcasian company stocks. An opportunity to buy stocks from an Arcasian company. A personal investment opportunity has been relayed by Mr. Manga, an experienced stockbroker in Ventry City. Arcasia is selling valuable shares of Armadine Industries, an up-and-coming electronics manufacturing company. We could invest or let the opportunity pass. Armadine Industries, I believe that was the one that's just gone and made the personal radio. I'm going to go and grab 2,000 shares. And hopefully those all continue to grow. Whole sword. Reception at the inaugural ball. Residence of the President of Swordland. Whole sword. So hang on, if I click on here, open city information. High-speed railway under construction. Logistics issues. The mayor has reported to be struggling to overcome the significant logistic problems of the city. Well, hopefully this obviously helps. Industrial Center, USP Mayor, and it's the capital. Okay, yeah, that doesn't have... Because the next one that this goes to should be Enrica, and we should get that antiquated railway. Well, we're going to hopefully solve that straight away. So that will help. Your problems are also just antiquated railway. So again, hopefully we'll... So we'll push all of that problem through to say. Historical tourism... NFP Mayor. Antle Rock Prison. In Swordland, mostly reserved for political criminals. Ribery Tourism Destination. Logistical issues, yes. Yes. Logistical issues. Lack of a road network. High levels of poverty. We need some better healthcare services. Okay. So it's interesting... Obviously, it'd be nice, maybe whilst you're in the middle of a discussion, to come and check some of these things, because it's not like I'm going to remember them. High-speed railway under construction. Whole sword. Reception at the inaugural ball. I had just finished buttoning up my suit jacket when the doorbell rang. The presidential guard had arrived to pick us up for the inaugural ball. The ball was a 3-decade-old tradition, breathlessly anticipated by politicians, bureaucrats, and the press. All eyes were about to be on me. I called on Monica to get the children ready. Looking in the mirror, I straightened my tie and took a deep breath. After tonight, there would be no turning back. Suddenly, Deanna hugged me from behind, startling me a little. Monica had fixed her hair into an elaborate braid woven through with ribbons. Papa, Mama told me it's time to go. Stroke her hair. Someday I'll have to pry the boys away from you. You could be president yourself someday, you know that? Only when I'm old like you. Oh, children. It was almost time to leave. The big ball was starting in less than an hour. Darling Frank, it's time. Monica came down the stairs. She was wearing a simple yet elegant beige sheath dress and short heels. Her hair had been neatly pinned into the chignon, showing off the pearly earrings I had given her for our 15th anniversary. All those years, she had stayed by my side. Now we're about to begin the most challenging chapter in our lives yet. How do you do, Mr. President? Just stand there and look at her. Now where the hell is Frank? Monica, my love, you look as gorgeous as the day we married. Now, there's that charm that got you elected. Ha! Frank trudged down the stairs. Currently studying at the Holsword Markian High School. This thing itches. Frank tugged at the collar of his new tuxedo. He seemed ill at ease. I'm glad to have you with us for this big night. Sure, Dad, I'm just dying to go. Papa, are these people going to be around us from now on? She pointed at the presidential guards at the door of the house. These people are our friends, Deanna. It's all right, baby. They're here to make sure nothing bad happens to your papa or his family. Monica held Deanna's hand. Together, flanked by the guards, we walked out of the door. Halfway to the car, Frank stopped abruptly and turned towards me. Dad, do I really have to go? Couldn't I stay at home instead? I'm nervous myself, Frank, but I feel a lot more confident with my son by my side. Frank smiled reluctantly. Well, when you put it like that, sure, let's go. The presidential guard showed us the way as red and blue lights flashed around us. Serge, my driver, ushered us into our armored limousine. The motorcade started moving towards the palace. I gazed out the window, deep in thought. Anton, what are you thinking about? I was thinking that we've come a long way together, haven't we? Yes, we have. And there's still so much that we'll accomplish, side by side. Just remember, no matter what happens, the children and I will always be here for you. I'm going to help Papa fix everything. Frank rolled his eyes. I know you will, honey. This means a great deal to me. After what seemed like just a few minutes, the convoy slowed to a halt. Serge rolled down the limousine's soundproof partition. We are here, sir. Hope you enjoyed the drive. Much appreciated. How are you today? I am just as good as I can be, but today is your day, sir. I'm glad you are in charge now. You know, my entire family voted for you. I won't let your family down, Serge. I don't doubt that, sir. You are the one who sparked a glimmer of hope in all of us. Serge opened the door for me. The normally imposing palace was festooned with garish banners that nearly made it look cheerful. A line of shiny luxury sedans stretched around it. Politicians, bureaucrats, and celebrities, the creme de la creme of the Swordland elite, streamed inside the building. Good luck out there, Mr. President. I'll see you on the trip home. I stepped out and immediately found myself surrounded by loud voices and camera flashes. Hordes of eager journalists thrust their portable microphones my way. My guards fended most of them off, but one woman managed to dodge them and corner me. I recognized the Swordish Broadcasting Company logo on her press lanyard. Mr. President, Mr. President! Do you plan on working together with the opposition parties on the expected constitutional reforms? My administration will bring real... We are going to work with everybody. Mr. Richter clarified that as long as you hold your promises of democratization, they will support you on these issues till the end. What do you think about this statement? I welcome it. This is a challenge for all of us. One more question. One of your first acts as president was to sign a campaign finance law allocating public election funds by seats in the assembly as opposed to number of votes. Is this a deliberate attempt to defund the Communist Party and the Blue Deer Workers' Party, neither of which have reached the election threshold? To ensure the USP has the funds we need to stay in power long enough to truly bring democracy to this country. It was agreed on by the majority of the GNA. I couldn't use my veto on the first day. Well, that makes it seem like I'm afraid of using my veto. But then none of them particularly seem like great answers. So I'm gonna go for that one. That's enough, ma'am, said one of the guards whilst nudging the reporter away from me. A path through the crowd was now open and we quickly made our way to the entrance of the palace. At the same time, a dozen fireworks went off. The entrance was decorated with beautiful ribbons in Swordland's colours of white, yellow, and maroon. A lush maroon carpet had been rolled down the stairs. We entered the lobby and joined the throngs of people making their way towards the ballroom. Behind me, I heard a familiar voice. There they are, the most beautiful family in Swordland. Uncle Peter! Hi, Uncle Peter. It's great to see you. You two are growing faster than I am getting wiser. Are you sure you've gotten any wiser, Peter? Maybe not. After all, I'm still sticking with you. Ha! Happy to see a familiar face, Peter. Evelyn. Peter's wife, Evelyn, approached us and shook our hands with a firmness that belied her delicate features. Congratulations, Anton. I have to say, the results were clear to me from the beginning. There's a woman behind every successful man. What a gentleman. Monica smiled at me. Monica, how are you? You've barely said a word. I'm more than relieved to have this roller coaster ride over with, but of course, now the real work begins. Ah yes, managing the help, planning parties, daily trips to the salon to look your best for foreign dignitaries. Don't be so old-fashioned, Evelyn. I plan to use my power as First Lady to advance the position of women throughout Swordland. Equal rights for our sex are long overdue, wouldn't you say, Anton? As long as you don't burn the roast. Up to a point, yes, they mustn't neglect their responsibilities to husbands and families. Absolutely. And we'll work together to achieve that. Monica flashed me a smile. Deanna suddenly jumped in between us and tugged on my sleeve. Papa, can we go? I want to see the ballroom. Of course, darling. Let's not delay any longer. We left the lobby and made our way towards the ballroom. Inside, we were yet again surrounded by a noisy crowd. But this time, it was the politicians who sought to appease the new authority in Swordland. I spent the next few hours shaking hands, joining various conversations, some serious, some superficial, and making speeches. We finally settled down at our dinner table with the Vecturns as the band started playing some slow jazz tunes. Oof, that was tiring. What, you're already tired? Well... Suddenly a loud banging noise echoed from outside the ballroom, then another one, and another. The musicians stopped playing. Everyone in the room was looking around in confusion. Peter and I turned towards each other, realization dawning on both of our faces. Fireworks? No. Gunshots! As soon as Monica heard the word, she lunged from her seat. Shield Monica and the kids. I threw myself on Monica, Deanna, and Frank to shield them. Papa, what's happening? I knew it. We never should have gone. Chaos broke out as some guests flung themselves under their tables and others ran towards the doors. Screaming, Deanna burst into tears whilst Frank tried to comfort her, hiding the fear in his own eyes. 3 more gunshots rang out loudly. Mr. President, are you all right? Carl Gracer, head of the Swordish police force, was running towards us with 3 more police officers in decorated uniforms. They all had their guns drawn. As soon as he made it to us and saw that we were unharmed, he let out a big sigh of relief. Thank God. Status report. 1 second, Mr. President. He turned around quickly to his men. Check the perimeter, now. Paul, Janssen, follow my lead. We will bring them to the safe room. He now turned to Monica, Evelyn, and the children and spoke in a softer voice. Do not worry, the situation is now under control. Please follow me. We promptly followed Carl through the winding halls and corridors of the palace. His men still had their guns drawn, which did nothing to ease the tension. On the way, Peter made an attempt to break the silence. What a effing night. It's not over yet. Carl turned to us with a serious face as we were about to round a corner. Quiet, please. Sorry, I talk when I get nervous. Peter, shut up. Carl flipped a switch on the wall and a panel opened, revealing a hidden staircase leading to a large reinforced door. Inside, a set of emergency lights flickered on. The safe room was comfortable and spacious, with expensive-looking leather sofas. Small security monitors on the wall displayed grainy footage of each room in the palace. There was a boardroom and a pantry containing enough provisions to last us months. Monica and Evelyn sat the children down and started wiping their tears. Carl stepped away from us and made a few radio calls. When he was done, he returned to me and Peter. So, what's the status? Carl's radio suddenly crackled to life. Every second felt like an eternity as he passed his ear to the receiver. When it fell silent, he turned to us. Good news, we are not in any danger at the moment. The situation has been dealt with and the perimeter has been secured by the guards and the police. He glanced towards Monica, Evelyn, and the kids. If I may, sir. He gestured towards a more private corner of the room and started speaking more quietly. This is what we know so far. We have confirmed that 2 people were gunned down in front of the palace. The attacker is one of them, and we have reasons to believe he was working alone. He fired 3 shots at an MP, 1 to the head, 2 to the body, instantly killing them. Presidential guards at the palace immediately shot and killed the attacker. He has not been identified yet and will require an investigation. The MP that was killed was identified as Bernard Circus. The Swordist poet, novelist, and short story writer and communist politician. He's acclaimed for his lyrical flow and was regarded to be the leader of the Swordish avant-garde. Interesting. This is huge, Anton. This will cause a lot of problems. A lot of problems. Peter pulled out 2 cigarettes and handed me one. He then turned to Evelyn. I could hear him trying to reassure her that everything was going to be all right. Monica was still trying to tend to Deanna as Frank paced the room, mumbling that he should have stayed home. Comfort Monica and the kids. I sat down beside my wife and children. Nothing like this will ever happen again, I'll make sure of it. We can't be sure of anything anymore, Anton. I lit my cigarette and took a deep drag. I was going to see this through and keep my family safe, at all costs. I crushed a cigarette on the ashtray. Well, there you have it. And it's, in my opinion, ladies and gentlemen, extremely interesting that the person killed was a poet and writer, and we have also just gone and lost a whole set of our intellectual works. So a lot of our intellectual works have been destroyed, and then I believe potentially one of our greatest literary minds, or one of our good literary minds at least, has now just gone and been shot. Swordland has been shocked by grave news today as an elected member of parliament has been shot dead in a suspected political assassination. Police sirens were heard around the clock today as Hull police force increased security measures around the capital. The fact that such a violent act happened in the heart of the capital during the new president's inauguration celebrations has worried many citizens. The Red Youth has reported to have promised revenge. This seems like it has the potential to be a spark that would swirl Swordland into political violence of the 1920s. Rain welcomes Richter's words. President Rain gave signals about a cooperation with friends Richter of the PFJP ahead of the inauguration ball. Regarding the remarks of Richter about a possible cooperation to fix the current problems of Swordist Politician and Institute, I welcome it. This is a challenge for all of us, said President Rain. Richter has long been vocal about his democratization plans, but maybe his demands for a constitutional change might finally become a reality if President Rain leads a bill together with Richter's PFJP. Okay. Interesting. We have a new point here. Legislative. Spokesman of the Independents. Okay, so Whole Sword. Emergency meeting, or read the report. Security measures at the capital have been heightened after the murder of Bernard Circus. The mayor of Whole Sword reports that everything is under control. Security around the Maroon Palace has been increased with the combined efforts of the Whole Sword Police Department and the Presidential Guard. Additionally, the entrance procedures to the palace are being revised with advice from security professionals. The police chief, Carl Greiser, reported that an investigation has been launched on the murder of Bernard Circus. Okay, emergency meeting in the Situation Room. The mood in the Situation Room was gloomy. My cabinet members were gathered to discuss the shooting outside the palace. Lilius presented the initial report. Bernard Circus was shot dead at 9:03 p.m. in front of the palace gates. He was an elected independent member of the assembly and, as you know, a famous communist. She spat the last word out with some distaste. The guards at the scene were 50 meters away and immediately took action by responding and killing the assailant, who was identified as a member of the nationalist organization Young Swords. Interesting. The president and his family were unharmed, praise God. But why Bernard Circus? He has always been an infamous figure. His poems had a large impact in the spread of communist ideas in Swordland. Many considered him a threat. Our investigators are suspecting a political assassination since the Young Swords have been threatening the communists for some time. This may well create a dangerous atmosphere where the left versus right political violence of the 1920s could spark once again. A return to those days would be devastating. The coups are the reason why our country stagnated for a decade. Nina Morgna, the Minister of Justice, sighed. The Red Youth has condemned the killing but didn't stop there. They promised revenge. This will in turn spark further aggression from the Young Swords. The whole cycle started because Bernard Circus expressed his views. We can't simply look away. Nia had always been one of the only members of the Justice Ministry truly deserving of the name. She had survived countless attacks on her character while fighting corruption within the ministry, and rising to power had only compounded her sense of moral duty. Freedom of expression is part of our constitution. We can't have anyone, let alone an MP, shot for voicing different opinions. I fully agree we should protect freedom of speech. Our laws do, and for good reason. Silencing voices only results in fear and stagnation inside society. We had that before, and know very well how it was. I hear your concerns. Our police do their best to uphold the rights of our citizens. We will prevent such an act from happening again by making sure our security measures are re-evaluated. Minister of Defense Iosif Lancia grunted in approval. He towered over the rest of us in full military uniform, his many war medals conspicuously on display. Agreed, ma'am. Our Gendarmerie is an armed law enforcement organization which maintains security, safety, and public order in the rural regions of Swordland and executes the duties ascribed to it by other laws. The station, which was established in 1899 and survived until today. After public was proclaimed, the Gendarmerie stations began to serve people in the most remote parts of the country, in addition to carry out security and public order duties. Will also help boost security in the rural areas where possible. There might be more violence to come. We should refrain from making the issue a political one from the start. It will only add fuel to the fire. You are right, we need to defuse the situation. Our government is capable to maintain security. Our job will be to reduce tensions. Several police cars rushed past the Maroon Palace, and everyone went silent. Regardless, a full investigation into all involved parties is underway. We will find these subversives and punish them soon enough, Mr. President. I'll do my best to help coordinate the administrative tasks. Justice will be served, and the rule of the law will return to this country stronger than ever. Only if we stay vigilant as a country. We must think about the upcoming budget. It is too soon to jump to conclusions. Reckless acts will have dire consequences. Agreed, we need to be patient until we have the full picture. Lucian took some notes after checking the latest newspapers and reports. It seems that the tensions between the communists and nationalists will escalate further. It will be very difficult to pass any meaningful change if there is chaos in the country. We can't fix the recession if there isn't stability. You are right, we need to trust our ministers to stabilize the situation if it comes to it. This will be it for today then. We will convene again soon. Thank you all and keep us updated. The meeting concluded and the ministers left the room with concerned looks. It was hard to anticipate what would happen next. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. There you have it. So that... we have one news story. In the Lackhaven Times, murder at the palace. Breaking news, Bernard Circus, a prominent independent MP known for his communist romanticism, has been murdered leaving the Maroon Palace grounds after the inauguration ball of Anton Rain. Reports indicate a politically motivated assault by the far-right nationalists of the Young Swords. Shocking photographs have been leaked to the press showing drip stairs of the Maroon Palace. We heavily condemn this sort of political violence. This is the very cycle the president must break with reforms. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I think that in essence is the end of turn number 1. So, after being elected, after going through our initial decisions about the budget, about the media, after starting our first mega infantry structure of the L1 high-speed railway, And after investing 2/3 of my personal wealth in the up-and-coming electronics firm in, and I want to say Ansia? Arkia? Somebody help me out here. Arcasia. That'd be the one. So after investing in a company over there, we then went to our inauguration ball where one of the prominent left-wing Communist Party members was shot on the steps of the inauguration ball, leading to more problems and potential political upheaval in my own country. And so with that, ladies and gentlemen, we come to the end of episode 2. I hope you have enjoyed it, and I hope you continue to join me for the rest of the series, where we will attempt to guide the poor country of Swordland through its problems and attempt to come out the other side with a better nation for everybody. And so until we see you again, as for always, ladies and gentlemen, I hope that you stay safe, happy, and healthy.